As you know that decision making is one of the important things which we need to take when we decide to do one or two stuff, which is why in the 5 steps required to complete your student college, decision is the first one I'm talking about. So first, you need to decide if you really want to go through the stress of going through two semesters, which is 1 year, when you want to start your program in Germany. In case you want to study the BSc, you know that you have to go through the student college. This is not new to you, but the decision in which you are taking to do this is your first step, because you decide from the beginning if you really want to do this or if you don't want to do this. So with this introduction, I welcome you to the channel once again. As you know, my name is Akere and welcome back to the channel. So your number 2 step in completing your student college is going to be your application. Now you need to find out which student college you really want to attend. Of course, you know there's private student college and there's public student college. Your private student college has some benefit and your public student college have some benefits. So let me just quickly go into private student college. As you know, your private student college, some of them are not require you to write the Aufnahmeprüfung before you start your student college. Your public student college, certainly you will have to write your Aufnahmeprüfung before you start your student college. Another thing is which state do you really want to study? Which state do you really want to study? You need to decide that, and this will influence your application. Note, if you write a student college in one university, what you just need to do is pass. You don't really have to study after at that particular university. You just need to make sure you pass your student college and you can study at another university. So how do you really apply for this student college? First, what you need to do, your number one thing in which you need to do, go online, search for different schools and go for their student college. I'm going to link a video in which I actually made before concerning the student college, and I'm going to maybe put the same description from that video in this video so you can see the links in which you need to click for you to get the list of student college that is available. I think in that video, which I'm going to link the video somewhere up here, and you can just go through that video and see the list of student college which is available in which you can apply to in the street. So in application, of course, you know, in your application there is also a requirement. The requirement is for German, you really need to have at least B1 in German. B1, you have your A1, you have your A2, then you have your B1. B1 means you have this level of German which will make you understand everything that is being taught in the student college. Just in case I forget to tell you what the student college is. Student college is a preparatory course for you to study in the German university. So for those of you which is coming from the likes of Ghana, coming from the likes of Nigeria, coming from some of this country where your educational level is to 12 years, you know that German Abitur is to 13 years, meaning you have this 1 year in which you have to carry over. For if you are coming from Cameroon and some other countries, or if you are coming from India, you also need to do this preparatory course. If you're coming from Cameroon, I think you don't really have to do this. I'm not really sure, but you need to find that out. And the only way in which you can find that out is by going to the German Anabi website. I'm going to put a link to that website also, in which you can go and look at if your education from your country is actually accepted in Germany. So I'm going to be linking that in the description. So don't skip the description. Make sure you go through it and make sure you read it. So number 3 step in which you need to do to complete your student college is your Aufnahmeprüfung. As you know, before you go into the student college, you need to write this Aufnahmeprüfung. This Aufnahmeprüfung, if I try to interpret to English, is like a test that make them takes you. Yeah. Okay. So this particular prüfung for private student college, like I said before, some of them they waive it out. You don't need it, because in a private student college you are going to be paying a lot of money. I might tell you that some of the private student college might be paying up to 300 euros per month just to study or just to do this student college. And for public university, it might just be you have to pay like this semester fee, maybe 100 euros, or you are just between 100 euros and 400 euros for a semester. You know that a semester is 6 months and your student college is 1 year, which is 6 months. Yeah. So where do I stop? So I said in your private student college, you have to be paying a fee. So you have to decide. But I will tell you something. Many of the students actually fall back to a private student colleague after they've tried to study in a public student colleague and they couldn't get a chance. They've written the Aufnahmeprüfung many times, and as you know, you have just 2 years. If you don't get into university in 2 years, you have to return back to your country and you start again. This is the way it is in Germany. It's not my law, it's just the way it is in Germany. So many people actually fall back to the private student colleague because they couldn't get into the public student college. So you do your private, and after your private, you go further, right? That is the trick. I'm going to talk about that later. Maybe I'm going to do an elaborate video on the private student college. Then we'll see where we go from there. So you have to decide if you want to go for public and if you want to go for private. Meaning you have to, if you are going for public, then you have to go for your Aufnahmeprüfung. Of course, you really need to pass this Aufnahmeprüfung. If you don't pass this Aufnahmeprüfung, then you can't get a chance to study in the student college. So your number 4 step, as you know, is going to be the student college itself. So what exactly is a student college? What do you do in the student college? No, so there are courses which are made up of the student college. If you are going to be studying something that has to do with medicine, something that has to do with dentist, veterinary medicine, pharmacy, biochemistry, bioinformatics, and other stuff that are related to medicine, that means you are going to be going for the M course. And if you are going to be studying something that has to do with business administration, economics, then you have to go for the V course. We call it W course. And if you have to do anything that has to do with humanity, foreign languages degree, then you have to go for the J course. And if you have to do anything that has to do with mathematics, science, natural science, biochemistry, then you have to go for what we call the T course. And last of them all is the S course, which is for language. So those are the courses that are available in the student college. So you have to do, what do I want to study after what do I want to study when I finish my student college? So if you are going to be going for any of these courses which I've mentioned, then the M course, the V course, the G course, the T course, the S course is one of them in which you have to be. So in your student college, you are going to be trained for these courses within 1 year, for you to know the times used in chemistry, for you to know the times used in economics, in case you get to university and you actually get lost. So this preparatory course prepares you for what is going to be going on in the university. And as you know, you are also going to be studying German in your student college. During your student college, you are going to be having German as a course. If you are going for the T course, you are going to be having mathematics. Of course, you are going to be having chemistry. You are going to be having physics. Yeah. And also German as one of the courses. So that is what the student college is all about. This is what you are going to be doing for 2 semesters, 1 year. And at the end, this brings us to the last step. At the end of your 12 months, I might also call it maybe at the end of your 11th month, then you have to write an exam. And this exam is called the Feststellungsprüfung. This exam is what is very important. After going through your language course, you apply for your student college, you pass the Aufnahmeprüfung, you finish your student college. This particular exam, I repeat, is the key for you to get into university, meaning you have to pass this particular exam. If you don't pass this particular exam, Feststellungsprüfung, then all your effort right from the beginning, right from traveling from your country, right for being in Germany for the past 11 months becomes automatically a waste. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to give you the reality and what you should expect. So this exam is very, very important. This is the last step. You really need to pass this exam. You really need to study hard, pass the Feststellungsprüfung. And when you pass the Feststellungsprüfung, which is the last step I'm mentioning here, then you can apply to a university, or you can also study in that same university, provided they have the course. Yeah, you can also study in that same university, and then you are good to go, and you are good to start your BSc in Germany. I hope this was helpful. In case you have any question, don't forget to always put your question in the comment section. In case you are just wondering about some other things apart from the student college, you can always chat me up on any of my social media platform. And this is how I'm going to call it a wrap. So before I call it a wrap, I'm just going to give a brief intro on what I said. I said your decision to come to Germany to study, which is your number one step. Your second step is your application into the student college itself. Going online, check for the university, yeah, check for the one that have the course in which you want to study. Number three is your Aufnahmeprüfung. This is the test that makes you qualify to go through this student college. You have to write this test and you have to pass it. And the first step was your student college itself. In your student college, you might be doing some exams or blah blah blah, whatever like that, but those are not important. The last step, which is your most important exam, is the Feststellungsprüfung, in which you have to pass. I hope this information was helpful to you. And of course, I remember my almost self, Akere Ebun Oluwa. I told you January is going to be a great one, so watch out for more video this month as we prepare and look for the opportunity that this year have in store for us. For now, I'll leave you with this video, and you know what? I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.